Within my life, there's been a multitude of experiences in which I've thought to myself, what did I do to warrant this outcome? Like, is this karma? Like, is this like retribution? I don't know what's going on. Like, what did I do to warrant this? As a result of that, I once came to the conclusion, or I thought to myself, I'm like, what if somewhere in my life in the past, maybe through God, maybe through family, maybe through friends, etc., I was taught this lesson or told this the easy way, and I did not listen. And I had to learn it the hard way. I had to learn it for myself. I had to learn it through enduring whatever life event I was meant to endure. And coming to that realization was really crazy to me. And I guess that's technically the first lesson that I've learned against my will. Sometimes the most important lessons in which make you question, why did this event need to happen? Why did I have to go through this thing in order to learn this lesson? It's probably because somewhere in your life, that lesson was taught to you the easy way, or told to you the easy way, but it didn't stick. Going through that difficult event was required in order for it to stick. And me personally, I'm like, it has stuck, because it comes to a point where if I have control of experiencing what I experienced again, or preventing that from happening, I'm gonna pick the latter. I'm gonna pick to not let it happen again, which means I retained the lesson, at least decently enough. It had a substantial impact on me for me to not repeat the same old mistakes. The next lesson that I've learned against my will is you can't control how people act, but you can control what you do with that information. You can control what you do with how they treat you. And if you like or don't like how they treat you, you can control what you do with that. And that bothered me, because I'm just like, of course I want my relationships to be in the way that I want them to be. I want things to be sunshine, rainbows, and happiness, but that's not the truth of the matter. People are nuanced, I'm nuanced, and I guess like humans are like puzzle pieces. So it's kind of impossible to shift shape each individual to fit whatever idea you want them to have. And of course, I would have loved to have been able to do that with some of my past friendships, some of the people who used to be in my life. But the emotional strain, the mental turmoil in which doing that exhibits, for me to realize, no. And it's much more easier said than done, because obviously, whenever there's somebody in your life and you're like, I really care about this person, you don't want to lose that person. There's a part of you that doesn't want to lose that person, but there's a part of you that may be thinking, I don't like this aspect of the relationship. And all you can do is express that. And if nothing changes, you got to do something with that information. You either got to come to the decision that, okay, this is who they are, and I can't do anything about that. So it's either I'm going to endure that for the sake of the relationship, or I got to move on. And if you pick to endure that circumstance, or if you pick to endure, you have to make yourself be okay with whatever that circumstance is. You can no longer fixate on it. You can no longer complain about it, because you chose to stay within this and you accepted that outcome, knowing exactly who you were dealing with. And that's nuanced. I say that more about, gaining back whatever power or whatever control you have in the situation, rather than solely conceptualizing it or disregarding the emotions and the nuances that are in place with situations like that. My next lesson, yes, amazing. Okay. I'm getting comfy cozy. I was comfy cozy in my last podcast, and comfy again. My next lesson: everything that feels good is not good for you. Ooh, everything that feels good is not good for you. And I feel like the best example I can use is like fast food tastes good, you know? Whatever your favorite fast food restaurant is, it tastes good, but there are adverse effects involved with the continuous consumption of fast food. And I'm not even saying this as somebody who doesn't eat fast food. Me, myself, I eat fast food. But I'm just saying, fast food tastes good, you feel happy after you eat it maybe. But when I say everything that feels good isn't good for you, it's because fast food comes with adverse effects, It can be high in sodium, it could be high in fat, it could be high in sugar, and too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And of course, we need some of those essential nutrients within the food, of course, just in moderation, and fast food may provide it in an excess. So basically, I use my example in saying whenever there's a situation and you're contemplating like, ooh, I don't know which way to go, like you're a little unsure whether it's meant for you or not, I try to remember that not everything that feels good is good for me. Like, it feels good to maybe lay in my bed and watch YouTube all day, but guess what? My homework's not gonna get done and I'm not gonna get my degree. Like, so you have to think about your long-term goals. You have to think about what you want for yourself, your self-preservation in a way, because immediate gratification is not always the most fruitful path. And it's not always the most sustainable path, Sometimes you just have to do the hard things in order to achieve the life that you want or the outcome that you want. And even me, myself, I battle with that. I'm not gonna lie. I really do battle with that. Because I am not a proponent for assimilating. I don't like assimilating. It's never my intention to be palatable. I feel like the worst thing that could happen to me is if I die being remembered as palatable. Have mercy. I guess it's more so about, conserving energy and picking and choosing your battles in a way. The next lesson I've learned is that everybody who matters, everybody who is meaningful, everybody that, is truly meant to be in your life will love you regardless of whatever flaw you believe you possess or whatever flaw you think is gonna make them dislike you. And what I mean by that is, for instance, having insecurities is a very common thing, And I feel like a common mentality I see within people is that they're afraid that if they, and I'll use this as an example, like maybe if you are very smart, if you're afraid that, one day you don't have the answer to something, or one day, maybe you're not as knowledgeable on a topic, then everybody's gonna be like, what? Like, everybody's gonna leave you, everybody's gonna abandon you, and you don't have any worth without that skill, Or another thing, if you think like in the way that you dress or the way that you present yourself, you're like, oh, if I don't wear specific brands or if I don't put on this makeup that, nobody's gonna like me. I think the problem is more so rooted less in the way that you actually present yourself and more in your mentality and probably the people surrounding you. Because unfortunately, there are some societal norms that, it's very common. It's difficult to exist being different than other people. Although I feel like you can't really nitpick like superficial things like that, Because if you think about it, whatever flaw you think is gonna make people no longer see the value in you, the problem comes in that mentality, and the problem comes in the people, maybe the people who are around you, Because I know the people in my life that I truly love, I would love them regardless if they no longer dressed a certain way. I would love them regardless if they had whatever insecurity, whatever. Like, I would love them regardless. I would. The people I truly, truly love, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, the people that I truly, truly love, it's not a long list of people. And I don't even say that in a way of like, I don't like any, no. I just think love is a strong word, you know? So the people I truly, truly love, it's not a long list of people. And I know the people that I truly, truly love, there's nothing that they can do superficially that'll make me not love them. So whether it's in a relationship, if you think if I dress in a certain way, person in my relationship won't like me, you know, question your mindset. Question, why do I think that though? You know, because I feel like that kind of is a telltale sign that maybe your relationship or the people around you, that connection isn't built on something sustainable and long-term and meaningful, you know? And if that's the case, that doesn't mean cut them off. That just means, you know, reevaluate their place in your life. You know, not everybody's a close friend. It's okay to have acquaintances, and it's okay to know very well that they are acquaintances and that's their place in your life. It's okay to have friends that you enjoy being around, but it's also okay to know, you know, what their place is in your life and how that varies. I may film a part 2 because, you know, I think I'm wise beyond my years. I think I'm wise beyond my years. I don't know what the saying. Wise beyond my years, wise beyond my ears. I don't know the saying, but I think I'm a wise person. So, you know.